There is. And so I'll give you one example, right? I'll give you an example of what we've done in the past. Right now, it's a little bit harder to do, but you can still do it. So there's basically I'll give you two little short tips that we use to generate cash, right? So I had cash. I would go buy a piece of property with cash, right? And so I'm going to talk about Carolina Avenue in Clyde, New York. I went and bought that from the bank in a foreclosure. So this was back in, wow, this is back in 90. Holy smokes, Sid. Damn, I just dated myself, right? So this was back in 93 or 5 or something like that. So it was a foreclosure, it'd been on the market a long time. And I'm just realizing how old I am. Holy smokes. So anyways, I bought the house. It'd been on the market a while. And if I remember correctly, I paid like $12,500 for this house. I put in about $2,000 or $3,000 worth of repair work. I believe this story is in my first book. And so prior to doing that, though, folks, what I did was I went to an appraiser, an outside appraiser, and I said, hey, I'm going to buy this house. I'm going to do this work. This is what it's going to look like when I'm done. What do you think I can get for this house to sell it, right? You should be doing that anyways if you're flipping homes, right? But I was doing it for another reason as well. And when they told me that, oh, you could probably get around $75,000 for the property. So now I know that my local bank is giving me 85% loan to value. So I went and bought the house, paid for it, did all the work into it. And then I went back to my banker and I said, hey, and you got to have decent credit for this, guys, or at least good credit. And I went back to the banker and I said, hey, I got this property. This is what I did to it. What will you give me? And I already had all this in my head, right? But what will you give me for it? And oh, by the way, I've already got a contract on it for a lease to own. So now they turned around and gave me, if I remember correctly, they gave me like $65,000 or $68,000 in cash, right? So I paid myself back the initial amount of money, went out and did another house. I took the rest of that money, I put it into another investment, and then half of that money I put into my cash account, right? I've always had a cash account. You should always have a cash account, right? And especially right now when cash accounts are paying 4.75, 4.25, you should be banking cash every month, right? And you want that cash laying around because of the times when a deal comes along. Nothing makes you more mad than, oh man, look at that deal, or that stock is so cheap, or silver is so cheap, or gold is so cheap, or this oil project is so cheap. Oh man, I could have bought 10 heads of cattle last month 2 years ago for $600, and now they're selling for $3,000, right? So this is why you need to have cash on hand. And while it's sitting there, yes, most people will tell you, well, it's just wasting your money. You're not making any money on it, but you will make money on it. And that's the key, right? You have to have patience, right? Okay, so that's one way to bring in the cash flow for you if you're doing real estate.